All right, so properties of exponents revisited. So again, this week is just hopefully a review for y'all. If you're tired of doing all this stuff, great. That means you're gonna be ready for that test. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at number one. All right, so if I have 9 to the 1/2 power, 9 to the 1/2 power divided by 4 to the 1/2 power. Well, 9 to the 1/2 power is 3. 4 to the 1/2 power is 2. So that would be 3/2. Over here, I would use the quotient rule. So I would subtract these fractions because the base is the same. So 5/2 minus 1/2 would be 4/2. And 4/2 can be simplified to 2. And 3 to the second power is 9. Over here, I've got x to the first up in the top, and then x to the 4/3. The reason why I'm bringing to the bottom is because there's that negative. Okay, so if I was going to subtract these, I would have to change this to a common denominator, which would be 3/3. Subtract 3 minus 4, that would give me x to the negative 1/3. And so I would write out my final answer as 1 over x to the 1/3. Okay, you got to know your properties in order to be successful on this stuff. All right, so simplify each expression. Write your final expression using only exponents. All right. So I've got x to the 3rd power, but we're taking the square root. Remember, the square root is the same thing as taking something and raising it to the 1/2 power. And then we're raising it to the 3rd power. So we're going to multiply these two together. So that would be xy raised to the 3/2, which then we could write this out as x to the 3/2, y to the 3/2. Over here, we've got x to the 4/4, and we're taking the 5th root of it. So I can rewrite that as x to the 4/5. This is x right here. And this y to the negative second is going to go in the bottom. So we're going to change to positive to move it to the bottom. So remember, I can add these. That means I'm going to put 5/5 because they got to have the same denominator. So this would be x to the 9/5 over y to the 2nd. And so we're going to write this in radical notation. All right. So we've got this negative right here. So that means I'm going to flip both of these. That means I'm going to put y in the top, x to the 3rd in the bottom. And remember, we're taking the cubic root. So we can either do it individually cubic root, or we could do the whole thing, the cubic root. Okay. Taking the cubic root is the same thing as raising something to the 1/3 power. Okay. Over here, we're going to simplify this. So we're going to use the quotient rule on this one. In the denominator, we don't have the same, in the denominator for both of these, we don't have the same number. So we need to make sure that we multiply these two by 2/2. So this would be x to the 3/4 over x to the 2/4. And over here, I would just subtract these. So what's y minus y to the 2nd? That would be y to the 1st, negative 1st. So over here, we would subtract these, and that would give us x to the 1/4. This y to the negative 1st is going to move to the bottom because it's negative. Okay, and the reason why it's negative, because a lot of people ask me this, if I take 1 and I subtract 2, that gives me -1. So I'm going to put y to the negative 1st in the top and then move it to the bottom. Another way to say this, though, if you don't like moving it back and forth, is whichever is the bigger number, that's where you're going to place the variable. So like 1 and 2. 2 is bigger, so it's going to go on the bottom. But I always forget that one. But if it makes it easier for you, great. Okay. All right. So here's a little bit of practice. What's the error? You will have an error analysis one on this one, on the final exam. So go ahead and take a look at this one. I'll zoom in because we're going to talk about it a little bit. If I can get this to be a little bigger. Okay. Janeth is trying to apply what she knows about rational exponents and the rules of rational exponents to simplify the problems below. She is not sure if she's correctly simplified each expression. Review each problem. Janeth solve below. If you agree with her, explain why. If you disagree, explain the error, then provide the correct simplified expression. So take a moment, look that over. Okay, so on this one, she raised everything to the 1/4 power, which is good. And then she simplified. Okay, so she multiplied exponent to exponent, exponent to exponent. So this one's right. This one's right. So I would agree with her on this one. Okay, because she used the power to a power rule and simplified exponents. So sorry. Okay, over here, what she did is she took everything and raised it to the 1/3 power. Okay. And she moved y to the second on the bottom. Now, when she combined these two things, she should have changed this to 3 in the denominator. So she should have multiplied by 3 in the top and 3 in the bottom. So that should have given her 6/3. And so 4 plus 6 should have given her 10. So she messed up here. So I disagree because she added wrong, added fractions wrong. Okay. Over here, she changed this to 1/3. Great. And then she multiplied 1/3 times 18, and I got 6. Okay, good. She distributed that. Great. And then she subtracted. She should have subtracted, but she did not do that correctly. Okay, so from here to here, she did it wrong. So this should have been x to the 4th and y to the 5th. So disagree because she subtracted wrong. Okay. I know that one was short, or this video was a little short. But what you're going to do is, let me pull up. There you go. Okay. So what you're going to do is, we've already gone through all of these. You don't have to do the Desmos version or anything like that. Actually, you are going to do the Desmos version. Probably should have done that along with me. But just kind of getting some practice. I just want to make sure that y'all are actually paying attention. So go ahead and complete this Desmos version. It should be like an easy 100 essentially. And then let's take a look at this. I think y'all have already done this one. Nope. All right, so go ahead and complete these in your notes. Okay, so go ahead and complete these in your notes. You're gonna hang on to it. You're not gonna turn this one in. Okay. And that's it for this right now. I'll make a second video in just a second. One thing that I want y'all to make sure that you're taking care of, any documents that you haven't turned in, any papers that you need to turn in, make sure that you turn it into Mr. O, because he turns them into me by the end of the day. So make sure that you take care of that. I know this is a lot, and I'm really proud of the work that y'all are doing. So just hang in there. We got like less than 20 days. So just hang tight. All right.